EFCC arrests Zenith, Providus, Jay's CEOs over involvement in BETTA EDU, Sadia Umar Farouk alleged fraud. Oh boy. So the CEO of Zenith Bank, Providus Bank, and Jay's have been arrested by EFCC. It means that Sadia Umar Farouk and BETTA EDU must have confessed them, or they have traced some money to them. Now, this is a serious one. I'm telling you, this is a serious one. Well, let's see how that goes. Let's get into the details. The CEO of Zenith, Providus, and Jay's banks have been apprehended by the Economic and Financial Crime Commission in connection with financial misappropriation and fraud linked to disgraced Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, BETTA EDU, and her predecessor, Sadia Umar Farouk. Oh boy. The banking executives, who have been under still scrutiny since the public outcry over the unscrupulous diversion of public funds into private accounts, are now in EFCC custody. Multiple credible sources within the presidency told People's Gazette on Tuesday. So the anti-graft agency is presently probing numerous instances of substantial public funds directed into private accounts, an action sanctioned by Mrs. Edus and Farouk using their position as ministers. Ms. Farouk, who oversaw the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development under the previous administration, is also under investigation for the mismanagement of at least 37 billion naira in public funds designated for the conditional cash transfer program of then President Muhammadu Buhari. The large-scale movement of funds into private accounts was partly facilitated by a potential deliberate oversight in flagging suspicious transactions, a responsibility banks bear under various anti-financial crime laws and central bank directives, the sources told the Gazette. So the banks did not immediately respond to the Gazette's request for comments regarding their CEOs at detention. EFCC spokesman Dele Oyewale sidestepped inquiry into the matter. Meanwhile, Mrs. Edu has said her hands are clean and she is committed to fighting corruption and made the uproar over her illegal request to wire funds into a private account. Mrs. Edu made this comment in a Facebook post she addressed to N-Power beneficiaries. Dear N-Power beneficiaries, I want to assure you all to remain calm and steadfast amidst the recent accusations and suspension I am facing. My heart and hands are clean and I am committed to fighting corruption, Mrs. Edu said. She said it is essential to be aware that some individuals with impure intentions may use government machineries against you. Stay strong and together we will navigate through these challenges. Can you imagine? Strong confidence. There have been several financial corruption investigations since President Bola Tinubu assumed power, resulting in the detention of prominent figures like the disgraced CBN governor, Godwin Emefiele, and EFCC chair, Rashid Bawa. So with what we are seeing now, the CEOs of three banks, Zenith Bank, Providus Bank, and Jay's Banks, have been arrested and now detained and are now in EFCC custody in connection with BETTA EDU and Sadia Umar Farouk, the two past and present ministers of the humanitarian ministry. And this is hence we continue to rule. Then it's the same today. The Minister of Interior, Tunji Ojo, has been invited by the president to also probably come and explain his own part in connection with the family company that got the contract from BETTA EDU. So BETTA EDU, I know that sometimes today too, about 9 banks that benefited from the 37.1 billion naira fraud actually have been listed, and out of those 9 banks, about 4 of them actually are not existing on ground, they're just on paper. They are not registered, okay, with the Corporate Affairs Commission. So with all of this going on, there's a lot that meet, to it that meets the eyes. And I'm sure as they dig into that very interesting case, let's see how the case will go. And I just hope that people will confess and let key stakeholders in those fraud matters also be identified and taken. Like we've said, or some people have said, that BETTA EDU wouldn't have acted alone, and even Sadiya Umar Farouk wouldn't have acted alone as well. There are people, high-powered politicians, that are using them, and I just hope they will be able to speak out, or they would have given them hope that, look, they should keep quiet, they will sort all of this out, and before you know it, all of this will be out. Now you are taking CEO of Providus Zenith and Jay's Bank into custody. Meanwhile, is Sadiya Umar Farouk and BETTA EDU in custody? They are not in custody. So what kind of preferential treatment is that? Sadiya Umar Farouk and BETTA EDU need to be in custody. Okay, if you must keep other people in custody, even the ministers will also be in custody. They've been suspended, they're not in office, they should be in custody as well. What is good for the goose is also good for the gander. So that is what we're getting today, that 3 CEOs of 3 different banks that, that were involved in the movement of the funds have been apprehended and now in EFCC custody. My own, I repeat, if you must put these 3 people in custody, that's fine. Nobody's against that. The 2 ministers, past and present, should also be in custody. They should not, just because they're women, does not mean that they should go home and be enjoying the luxury of their homes while other people are in custody. So they also have to be in custody as well, so as to be sure that, yes, your investigation and your actions are impartial. Again, this is a very big music that is playing now, and we don't know how far it will go. It looks like there is more to it, and it looks like there is more to detect, to unveil to the public. And how will presidency take it? First of all, BETTA EDU is a candidate from the wife of the president, Remi Tinubu. Then Sadiya Umar Farouk is a northerner, and probably just an Hausa woman that the northerners will also be interested in her case. So at the end of the day, we're going to see tribal sentiment coming into all of this, and I hope that there will be justice at the end of the day. Somebody will say these 2 people are from the 2 tribes that are actually running or claiming the ownership of Nigeria. If it's somebody from the southeast, the case will be different. But the case now should not be detribalized. It should be, on fairness and on justice, on equity, and proper investigation need to be carried out, and all culprits should, should receive the long arm of the law. That is it. So that is the update now. 3 more CEOs have been apprehended and now in EFCC custody. The CEOs of Zenith Bank, Providus Bank, and Jay's Banks. So thank you for listening, and let's have your comments.